Good evening, everybody. My name is Kim, and welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. Hi, and welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. If you're new to my channel, my name is Kim, and I like to focus on foodie bookish content, primarily in the nonfiction space, but I am learning to dabble in both manga and fiction. If you're new to my channel, please also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. You know, it's 9:30, it's not the latest time of night, but I don't normally film at night, but I took a 3-hour nap today. My sleep cycle is totally jacked up after crossing the country and driving 13 hours one way and then 13 hours back. So I thought, why not film? I've got a ton of videos that I've been trying to get through, and today we are going to focus on my December wrap-up. It then dawned on me that I actually didn't film a November wrap-up. I was busy with nonfiction November and never actually put together a final video. So today we're gonna combine November and December together. Okay, between November and December, I have read 13 or 14 books. I'm gonna go in chronological order, actually reverse chronological order. So I'll tell you what I've read in December and work my way back to the beginning of November. First up is All American Muslim by Nadine Jolie Courtney. This is a fiction book, and I will be covering it in its own book review. This has nothing to do with food, but is a really powerful book that is written from the perspective of a Muslim American. I am Muslim American, so I was really excited to see representation in a world that I don't see a lot of. So I will link to that later. Second book on the list is Elaines, The Rise of One of New York's Most Legendary Restaurants and Those Who Were There. I had never heard of Elaine's restaurant, but it's a great book of lots of stories of who has come and gone throughout this restaurant, which is now no longer open in New York City. Once Elaine passed away, there wasn't much. The place wasn't the same without Elaine's. I got this actually through Audible through the premium plan, and then picked up a hard copy of the book to support the author. Third read in December is Steak, One Man's Search for the Tastiest Piece of Beef. This is by Mark Schatzker. This is a book that had been on my 2020 TBR for a very long time. I actually got it back in April, so I was really excited to knock this book out. And it is a great story about one man's journey for the best piece of steak, and he travels to different regions around the world to learn about different types of beef. What does an Argentinian steak taste like versus Kobe beef in Japan versus even our American-grown Texas-based steak? Next is another book that had nothing to do with food, but is one of my favorite directors, Miyazaki World, A Life in Art by Susan J. Napier, and this is all about the life of Hayao Miyazaki. You might know him from his movies with Studio Ghibli. Some of my favorites include Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. My first dance at my wedding is to a waltz from Howl's Moving Castle. I'm all in. I love this man, and it was very interesting to get a look behind the scenes and see how his childhood and upbringing influenced the movies that we have all come to know and love. Next up is American Catch, The Fight for Our Local Seafood by Paul Greenberg. This is nonfiction. I've had this on my shelf since, I believe, February, so I'm excited to get another book off. This is all about different elements of seafood that have been brought under a lot of pressure due to global consumption. A lot of it's mostly the United States and China's fault. But it is interesting to talk about food sustainability, especially in the seafood world. Final book I read in December, which is technically the first book I read in December, is Mr. Penumbras 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. I loved this book. If you love old bookstores, I think this is a great book. It's a couple years old. I actually read Robin Sloan's more recent book called Sourdough, or Lois and the Journey of Sourdough in the Underground. So I went back and read this book as well. It's actually interesting. In the month of December, I have read 1, 2, 3 different books that actually have nothing to do with food. So I'm pretty proud of myself that, hey, I picked up books. It's good to be a mood reader. It's good to diversify your reading. Okay, now we're in the month of November. Not all of these books were for nonfiction November, but primarily this month it's nonfiction. The last book I read in November, I actually did a whole review on. This is The Fish That Ate the Whale, The Life and Times of America's Banana King by Rich Cohen. I will link to that full review in the cards. Second is All About the Burger, The History of America's Favorite Sandwich by Seth Gonzalez and a foreword by George Motes. I have a review coming out for this book also, and it will be in January. Third is Julia and Julia, the 365 days, 524 recipes, and one tiny apartment kitchen. This is by Julie Powell. I just released my rant about this book. Not really about the book, but comparing the book to the movie that starred Meryl Streep. I can't speak. Meryl Streep and Amy Adams. So if you haven't checked that out and you want a good rant, that's also in the cards. Got a lot of references this time. Next is Out of Line, A Life of Playing with Fire. This is the memoir of Barbara Lynch. She is a Boston-based chef. Next is American Cheese, An Indulgent Odyssey Through the Artisan Cheese World by Joe Berkowitz. This I do have a review for. It's probably one of my favorite books of the year, which reminds me I probably need to film those because it is January 30th and I still haven't filmed my top books of the year wrap up. I'll get to that tomorrow maybe. So yeah, that's a great book though. That was a really ringing endorsement, but I promise that book is great. I have a full review of it. It's in the cards or on my channel. Go look at my playlist of individual book reviews. The last two are books that also have reviews that I covered for NonFiction November. First, The Billionaire's Vinegar, The World's Most Expensive Bottle of Wine by Benjamin Wallace. And the other NonFiction November read that I covered, The Beekeeper's Lament, How One Man and Half a Billion Honeybees Help Feed America by Hannah Nordhaus. So both of these were actually strategic picks for NonFiction November. This month was all nonfiction. The month of November was nonfiction, and it was NonFiction November. I know, very redundant, but it's interesting to see how my changes and my moods shifted from month to month. Maybe I read too many nonfiction books in November and needed a little bit of a break. But I am excited that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 12 books, 13 books I read in these past 2 months have their own solo book reviews. You can watch any of those on my solo book review playlist on my channel page. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. I would love for you to be part of my bookish food family. I'm so excited to share with you all the fun random facts I have learned about food throughout my book journey. All right, that is my wrap up for November and December. I hope you are well. Please wear a mask. Say goodbye to 2020. If this posted in 2021, welcome to the new year, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.